Hello, I'm Joe, and I am here to do a follow-up on the series of Angel Season 5 reviews I did a few years ago, which you can listen to on this channel. I've got a playlist of them. It's in the Let's H playlist, and it's just about in the order I did them. There are a few things in between the various episodes, but I did do the whole season, and every episode has a review. Some of them are combined. But if you've heard me talk about Angel and the Buffyverse, you know I'm not a big fan of Joss Whedon. And you probably also know that You're Welcome, which was Cordelia's farewell episode of the series, is one of my least favorite Buffyverse anything, if not my very least favorite Buffyverse anything. And I go into it in the video. You can look it up. I'll try and put a link in the blurb at the bottom so that you can check it out. But recently, Carpenter, who played Cordelia, came forward with allegations of abuse of power and generally an abusive attitude by Joss Whedon during the production of Buffy and Angel. And I 100% believe her. Amber Benson as well, who is one of the nicest people I have ever had the pleasure of meeting, even though I'm not really a Buffy fan, came out with a supporting statement, and a couple of others have too. I'll link the article in Variety in the blurb as well if you want to check it out. But this comes as no surprise to me. Joss Whedon is the kind of person that I would totally believe would abuse his power like that and would be awkward to the level where it would be abuse. He strikes me as the kind of person that I have met and known many times in my life who is not the best or nicest person in the world already, but that is exacerbated, just made considerably worse by the fact that I am pretty sure he's really socially maladjusted. Like, he's just not the kind of person that can engage with people well. And he should not be having closed-door meetings or anything like that. And he needs to comport himself that way, but he didn't do that. He was obviously confident enough in his ability to do these things that he has insulted, abused, and mistreated a lot of people because a lot of people are coming out and saying he's kind of a dickbag. This does not surprise me. Everything he has done or said has basically indicated to me this is kind of a douche guy, especially with a lot of his particular brand of supposed feminism, which everybody's not getting a pass. Like, I'm not trying to pile on him, because a lot of people's ideas of feminism are stupid and just offensive. But his especially seem to be more like a fandom rather than an actual movement or any sort of mind towards equality or egalitarianism. It's more a sexist kind of obsession. He's obsessed with a particular kind of character of a particular sort that is dangerously close to a Mary Sue in every iteration of the character. And the thing that people don't seem to remember is that there can be positive stereotypes that are still stereotypes and still offensive. There can be positive traits associated with a rather racist attitude, and it is still racist. So it's something that I genuinely don't think he probably understood. I don't think that Whedon is the kind of person that is just outright evil. I think he's probably just a really awkward dork who has very off opinions about things and doesn't know how to deal with people in a way that leaves them without their feelings hurt or without having just a terrible, terrible experience. And you know me, I'm a very down-to-earth person. I will be very plain-spoken, but in a situation like this, it's not comics or anything like that. If he were just a comic author and were just kind of an asshole to his characters, I'm sure people would still read them, even though plenty of other people, myself included, would probably critique them and complain about them. But when you have people who are just doing their job and trying to make ends meet, as Charisma was in those days, she was the primary breadwinner of her family, you can't make it an extra ordeal for them. That's not fair, and it's not professional. I don't care for pregnancy, I don't like straight people baby daddy shit, and I don't really care about someone's spiritual beliefs, because most of the time we're going to be different on those beliefs, and I believe everybody has the right to individually figure out their spirituality. This isn't an unreasonable thing. I will not be happy if someone insists on pushing their beliefs on me, but I don't really care if they have those beliefs, just like I expect them not to be bothered that I have differing beliefs to them. Live and let live. And it should never really come up in a professional situation, for or against. So him treating her beliefs and treating her pregnancy so poorly could have been handled a lot better. He really should not have gone and done and said the things that he did. And of course, all it is a he said, she said thing, because there's really no proof there can't be. He did a closed-door session with her, a closed-door meeting, and all you can really say is that, well, this did happen, and I'm saying this now because, I'm not on the show anymore, and the show's not around anymore. But it would have been impossible for her to do it at the time, which is really unfortunate because it led to the show being ruined, the characters being ruined, and more too. The thing is, I could see it if a showrunner had had all these scripts prepared, all these things done, everything ready for the new season, everything arranged, and then one of the actors had come up and said, hey, I got pregnant, and they were fairly far along, and it would require tremendous rewrites and hiding the pregnancy until they were ready to deal with it or even could deal with it. It depends on the part of production that they were currently in. I could certainly see a showrunner being upset about something like a pregnancy, but that's not how you deal with that. If someone did go out and get pregnant, did not tell you and just sprung it on you at the last moment when they're showing, when they know they can't work because it will endanger the baby, and it is possible they could have a miscarriage with too much stress and too much activity, that would be irresponsible on their part, and it would be completely fair for the showrunner to put them on notice, to say, hey, you're putting me in a really difficult position here because we have to go back and revise all these things that we did, or we just have to basically marginalize your character. But since you still want to work through your pregnancy, we're going to have to do a lot of adjustment just for you because you wanted to get pregnant. I could see that. I could see being annoyed at that, or even outraged, especially if a lot of money had been done getting the scripts done, getting the season planned out. If it's at a certain point where they had the marketing materials, etc., that's definitely a point where this is not just something that you can do. It's something that you really should be considerate to others on your same production, because it's not that easy to write in an organic pregnancy if the character isn't really right for it, which we see in season 4 of Angel. The character is not right for it, and it was not handled particularly well. And I will say that I think a lot of Whedon's previous dealings with pregnancy were things that I generally thought well of his writing because it treated it as body horror, which, in our society, pregnancy is normalized and encouraged, and in fact, it's a little more than encouraged. Most women are pressured horribly to get pregnant, and it is a problem of overpopulation in the world. But this is not a good way to deal with that, and it certainly wasn't good if he decided he could just get rid of her. If that wasn't just something where she said, okay, this has been an ordeal, I just want to take some time away. It makes me wonder why she even bothered to come back for the episode in season 5, because that was a significant amount of time later. I just don't understand a lot about it, and I think neither do even the people involved, probably. And I don't think it was right of him to belittle her beliefs. If he did, I'm not really clear on that part, but whatever her beliefs, it probably shouldn't have been brought into the matter. They probably shouldn't have addressed it, ever. I don't think it's inappropriate to ask if someone is going to carry a pregnancy to term, especially in the modern world, but I do think it's really inappropriate to belittle someone's beliefs if they are related to whether or not you want to get pregnant or keep a baby or whatever. It's outside of my realm. I do not do straight people baby daddy shit. But there is a difference, a big difference between propriety and just being completely inappropriate, unethical, and at the very least borderline abusive, if not outright abusive. I am usually very live and let live with beliefs, but Scientology, conservative bullshit, if it was something like that, I could probably see it. You don't need to have tolerance for the intolerant. However, this doesn't seem like that sort of situation, so I can't really give it that benefit of the doubt, and everything else, literally everything, really seems to indicate that Joss Whedon is a giant douchebag. The whole thing he did there is absolutely in keeping, too, with all of the stunts he was pulling at the time. He thought he was a lot more important than he was, which is exactly how he got Angel cancelled, because he wanted to do Firefly. But he started throwing his weight around thinking that the networks would just bow down to him, but they didn't. In fact, they kind of had enough of him. And after getting Angel cancelled and all those actors out of jobs, he went on to do the disastrously brief run of Firefly, which also did not do anyone involved any favors, really. I'm just saying that this is a man who clearly needs some help, and is clearly not a very pleasant person to work with unless you are specifically his exact kind of person, in which case he probably will fetishize you, which is also not a great thing. It's very unfortunate, too, in an industry like acting and film and television, because people like this are given so much influence and so much power, and they're not really kept in check. They never have been, and I don't even believe that they probably ever will be. And if anybody has anything to say about the production, they are quickly fired and the matter is brushed under the rug and hopefully forgotten about, or they overreact in exactly the other way and just cancel the production, or decide to get rid of the whole show. You know, it's either one extreme or another, and it's just ridiculous. I blame, in large part, the state of the industry on, well, the industry. It is a really unfortunate thing, and actors have it rough anyway. I do hope that Charisma Carpenter has a pleasant life. I hope that she's able to get past this feeling of being abused, because I feel like she really was abused. She was the best actor and character on any of the Buffy shows, and losing that meant that the shows really didn't have their soul. That was it. It was over. Normally I would stay out of topics like this, and I don't feel like I have a lot to contribute to the specific thing. As I said, it is a situation that, if handled better, could have ended up with no one having hurt feelings or feeling abused. But Joss Whedon is a prime example of these people that get put in positions of power, creative direction, and they take and they take and they take, and eventually no one is willing to stand up to them or say anything against them because they have too much of a pull at the time. And these companies, the networks and the production studios, the publishers, the movie makers, they have no one to blame but themselves for doing this, because this is a practice that has been done for decades, probably centuries, frankly. It is all over publishing, especially when you look at any of the upmarketed fiction of the last 25 years. They build up these creative people, these writers. They make them a lot of promises, put them in circumstances they can't possibly really jive with well, and don't mesh with very well, and then they never rein them in again. Jeff Johns is the same way, and I would not be surprised at all if there were reports of Jeff Johns completely abusing his power, because as far as I'm concerned, he's already fucking done that. Regardless, it is a situation that is not uncommon, and it is easy to believe. I feel very badly for Charisma Carpenter, but more than that, since I don't know her, I just like her acting when she's doing a character I like, I feel bad for the fans of this stuff that have had characters ruined, characters needlessly done away with, written out, killed off, what have you, and they will never get closure on that, or satisfaction, because the same person that was responsible for this poor writing that made them feel so bad is the person in charge of all that, who caused all of this alienation, all of this conflict between people. And that, above all, I think, is a huge shame. In any case, that's all I have to say on the matter, but this might make a few things click and make sense that I was talking about so long ago when I decided to give Angel Season 5 a try. It is really unfortunate, though, and colors a lot of what I said at the time of why Season 5 was so bad overall and why the Buffyverse kind of went down in flames. It is an extremely unfortunate situation when people cannot comport themselves in an appropriate manner when they are dealing with others' lives and others' well-being. It shows a tremendous lack of consideration on Whedon's part for having done this, or even done anything remotely similar to this that someone can remember even vaguely, much less someone can remember vividly for having been done over a period of time. We all live with a lot of damage, and it's very difficult to deal with, especially if it was part of some of the most influential years of our lives. I think that's definitely one of the most unfortunate parts. I can't say for sure because I'm not an actor. I'm not in the acting profession. But as a professional, I can say that any situation like that is always an ordeal. I have done so many shows in the past where the lack of professionalism made it just an absolute chore to get through. And most of the time, it's not as beneficial or as profitable as you would be led to think. Especially in a cutthroat industry like acting, I can't imagine something comparable to that being worth the ordeal, worth the unpleasantness of doing. But nonetheless, a lot of these actors have to do exactly that. They have to put up with absolutely horrible working conditions around people they don't like, who do not comport themselves professionally at all. And that's really a shame. But in any case, I hope you will at least appreciate the links, and I hope that this will also give you something to think about, to reflect on Angel Season 5 and my thoughts about Angel and Buffy and all of that universe. In any case, I will see you again next time. You're welcome. Bye.